we're back for Wellness Wednesday at the Center for Natural Healthcare in Red Wing, Minnesota. And today we want to talk about sugar. So it's the end of January. Many of you are embarking on your New Year's goals, and you're working really hard. And that is why today we want to talk about sugar, because sugar is something that undermines your goals and maybe you don't even realize it. So Dr. Joe, can you tell us a little bit about sugar and how it really undermines your goals?
Yes, so sugar, Hope, I think is the drug of choice for the American populace. Everyone has a sweet tooth, and it actually really sabotages our health. So the goal is to begin reducing our daily sugar intake, because it leads to hypoglycemic tendencies, meaning your blood sugar goes up and down. If that's not corrected, it creates adrenal fatigue and adrenal stress, which then drives our stress hormones, which are epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol, which then puts us in this chronic stress response. And so we consume sugar, and the sugar then just drives adrenal fatigue, and then we get more tired, and it becomes this vicious cycle. If that's not corrected, then what happens is we then move into what's called insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is where our body becomes gradually less sensitive to sugar, and our ability to utilize sugar is impaired, and that then can lead also to then prediabetes and adult onset type 2 diabetes. So this issue of sugar is a major health concern. It leads to obesity. It also increases the risk to heart disease and a variety of other health concerns, weakens the immune system. So sugar is a major player in sabotaging people's New Year goals and health goals and fitness goals.
So one thing that I share with my nutrition class, Dr. Joe, is that the average American, according to the United States Department of Agriculture, consumes anywhere between 150 to 170 pounds of refined sugar a year.
I can't imagine that. Can you?
Just think of a 150 pound bag of salt and turn that into sugar, and that's what the average American is eating on a
truly amazing.
In an average year. And so one thing that we want to share with you is, where are these hidden sugars going to be coming from? I know a lot of people think of table sugar as an easy way to visualize, and many people don't realize, and this is something that I've found in my nutrition classes, that they don't realize how much sugar they're getting through refined carbs and processed foods. So we want to share this equation with you today to help you kind of get the wheels turning, so you can understand, okay, this is where I'm really being sabotaged. And so hopefully this is an eye-opening experience for you, as it has been for many of my nutrition clients.
Well, and Hope, as a health coach, one of the key things is information. And as a patient gets, or our friends get information, they can then start becoming more discerning as to how to reduce the carbs. And I think this equation and just a couple things we're going to share here can be life-changing actually for people when they want to lose weight, they want to stay on their fitness goals, etc.
Definitely. So this is an equation that Michigan State University's nutrition department put out. And so essentially, when you're looking at a box of Cheerios, at your packaging on your bread, or any snack or food that you might be buying at the store, this is something you want to pay attention to. So to get the amount of sugar, so you can see it kind of in a visually in a teaspoon measurement, what you do is you take the total carbs found in a food, you subtract the dietary fiber, and then you divide it by 5, and that will give you the equivalent of teaspoons of sugar in that food. So for Cheerios.
So for example, what you're suggesting is they go to the nutrition facts label, is that
Yes.
correct? And they look at the nutrition facts label on whatever the product is that you're consuming, whether it be a loaf of bread, Cheerios, etc., and then go ahead, Hope.
So I just like to share this with people because you think of Cheerios as your heart healthy cereal, right? And that's how it's advertised, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look at a plain Cheerios, this isn't even Honey Nut Cheerios or anything with the added sweeteners. If you look at Cheerios, you'll find that there are 20 grams of carbs per 1 cup of cereal. I know about you, if I was going to have cereal for breakfast, I could not just do 1 cup. I'd be starving within 30 minutes of eating it. But you have 20 grams of carbs. You only have 3 grams of dietary fiber, so that gives us a 17 at the top divided by 5, and I think it's 3.5 is the calculation of teaspoons of sugar that you have in just 1 cup of Cheerios. So for many people, I think that's kind of like an aha moment of, wow, like, the cereal does have way more sugar in it, and maybe it's not as heart healthy as it's been promoted to us. And then secondly, before we wrap up here, just to give you a visual, because I know, even myself, before I started looking into this, you see the amount of grams that are on, a nutrition facts label. You're like, oh, there's 20 grams of sugar. I mean, that's not that much, right? A big energy drink has like 58 grams of sugar. But really, when you want to see the visual, 4 grams equals 1 teaspoon of sugar. So if you're trying to think, okay, how much sugar is really in this in a way that you can understand and visualize, just think 4 grams equals 1 teaspoon of sugar.
So what you're saying is when they look at the nutrition facts label of a product, you just divide 4 into whatever the total grams of sugar is, and now all of a sudden you begin getting an understanding of the number of teaspoons that you'll be consuming in that product. I think it's interesting too, Hope. A lot of patients say they eat these Honey Nut Cheerios for breakfast, and then they have, let's say, a sandwich or 2 to 4 pieces or slices of bread at noontime. Well, even with whole wheat bread, you end up, as you do these calculations from Michigan State University, is you end up with 3.5 teaspoons of sugar in one sandwich. So now you've eaten 2
a slice of bread.
In a slice of bread, excuse me.
And it kind of varies depending what brand.
But now all of a sudden you're consuming, by noontime, you've consumed 12 to 15 teaspoons of sugar already in the course of your day. That's not adding in any soft drinks or anything else, or juice that also is laced with sugar.
And so just to kind of wrap it up today, I hope you guys have found that this is really informative. But Dr. Joe, do you want to just share number 3?
Sure. So daily consumption, our goal is, your goal is, my goal is to consume less than 6 teaspoons of sugar every day. That is the ideal goal, target that we're all shooting for. If you do that, you're going to find yourself losing weight, having more energy, not contributing to adrenal fatigue and a weakened immune system during the winter, and you're going to just feel more vibrant and energetic throughout your day. So it's so cool. What a wonderful equation, Hope. Thank you so much for bringing that equation from the University of Michigan to our listeners.
Michigan State.
Michigan State.
So just to kind of wrap up today, if you feel like, well, I think what everyone should do is just start calculating how much sugar that they're getting in a day. So then they have a baseline, okay, whoa, this is how much I'm actually eating. And then from there, maybe try to cut it in half. Because I think for most people to go from what they're currently eating to 6 teaspoons is going to be a dramatic turnaround. So just figure out where you're at and then start making small steps towards a goal of 6 teaspoons or less a day, and you're going to be amazed by the difference you see in your health. So we just want to thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned. We'll be back again next week with Wellness Wednesday at the Center for Natural Healthcare in Red Wing.